Which player has the most to prove is your cue. Who's under the gun here?
I'm going with Karl-Anthony Towns from the Minnesota Timberwolves because we know he's a fantastic player. Ever since he's come into the league, he's been able to put up numbers. Last year he was All-NBA and he was an All-Star. And in the off-season, he signed that huge contract extension. Come playoff time last year, it was their first time in, so we give him a little bit of a pass there. But I just didn't feel he was aggressive enough. And I think he's developing a bit of a reputation for not being almost tough enough. And I think he needs to do that on both ends of the floor, defensively and on the offensive end. Particularly against the Rockets last year when Capella matched up with him. Capella took him out of a lot of contests. And I felt, because I know we talked about it on the show, I said, you've got to be more aggressive.
Yeah.
You always take a better offensive player over a better defensive player because you think the offensive player can win out. And we didn't see a lot of that. So now that he's got that big contract, we know there's a little bit of chaos there with Jimmy Butler. He has to be the guy who decides, this is my team, and I'm going to take this franchise forward. Because he's a fantastic player. He's got very versatile skills. We've just got to now see him really take that next step and become a dominant player all year round.
To me, it's honestly both Karl-Anthony Towns and Andrew Wiggins. Those two guys have been in the spotlight all summer, basically just being called out by Jimmy Butler for not playing hard enough and not progressing enough to actually make a difference rather than just getting to the playoffs. It should have been exciting for Timberwolves fans to go to the playoffs for the first time in 14 years, but they made it, and the summer has really been a disaster. You mentioned the GM survey. From number one, did not mention it all, is not good. Andrew Wiggins, I feel like, has kind of become an afterthought on this team, the team he got to first. Both of these guys, if they can put a chip on their shoulder, they're both super talented, can score 20-something a game. They got to respond to criticism. We'll see how they do it.
Talking shoulders, I'm interested to see what Markelle Fultz does this year after last year with that injury / the yips, that whole mental and physical thing. He put in the work this offseason, according to his shooting coach, Drew Hanlon. He put up 160,000 shots, and in preseason...
Sounds like Lee Ellis' summer. That's all he does.
The number was 150,000, and Drew Hanlon said, check with my interns. It's 160,000.
Wow.
Yeah, apparently. And the shot looks a lot better. A lot better. And their confidence looks a lot better.
Yeah.
And obviously it couldn't get worse than last season.
What do you need to see from him, though, this year that you'll be like, okay, yeah, this guy was worth a number one pick?
Yeah, I mean, he's never going to be Jason Tatum. I think that's... Throw that out the window. I think he's just got to be a serviceable player out there, right?
Yeah, let's start there anyway.
On this team. On this team, if he's starting, he's got a lot of talent around him.
He's got to be more than a serviceable player to have been taken number one overall, though.
Yeah.
I mean,
he's got the talents and the skill set.
Yeah. And also he's got that defensive awareness as well. Like, I think he's actually a pretty good two-way player.
Damn.
Yeah, and if we can sort of see that confidence grow, get a few more minutes, get bit more responsibility with the ball offensively, his whole game can grow from that. The Sixers, there was talk about maybe trading Fultz, trying to get him, dangling him in a few deals, but they ultimately kept him. I think they know that if they can get the best out of him, he is going to be a fantastic upgrade on what they had last season.
Yeah, that defense is pretty important because we watched him against Boston last year, and he didn't play whatsoever. J.J. Redick was getting picked on.
Yeah.
And so if Markelle Fultz can take that spot in the starting lineup, him and Ben Simmons, that's a big boy starting backcourt.
Yeah.
Everything is sort of about the Celtics for the Sixers, to me, from the outside looking in, like it is about the Warriors for the Rockets.
All right, very quickly here, I'll throw one more in. D'Angelo Russell with the Nets. He's on the last year of his rookie deal, sort of playing still for a good spot in this league. Is he a starting point guard? Can he prove that to either the Nets or to another franchise? He's only 22 years old. He's shown like flashes of brilliance, but consistency and shot selection. I know John Schumann was talking about it on the blog table. Like, his defense comes and goes too, so he's got to really put together a strong season here. Spencer Dinwiddie sort of breathing down his neck there, wanting those minutes, wanting that role. So I'd like to see if D'Angelo Russell can prove, I am a starting point guard in this league. He's taken number 2 overall. I mean, people thought that when he was picked there, so I'd like to see if he can either prove it with Brooklyn or another team in the future.